warm wreath shower steamers. These are nice to use in your shower. They're similar to bath bomb consistency, but they're from the shower. You put them on the bottom, that way as you shower and the water breaks up your bomb, the scents come to you. So the scents we're going to be using for this one are more autumn, but you can obviously switch this up for the time of the year, or depending on what's going on in your life, if you want something really invigorating and to really like help, you know, you get going in the morning, you could do like a eucalyptus and peppermint. If you want something more Christmassy, you can do Christmas spirit or thieves and orange. But today for fall, we are going to be using clary sage, the Idaho balsam fir, which is really clean and nice and crisp. I just got this one and I actually really enjoy it. And juniper, okay? And what we need for this is we need baking soda, you need a cup, you need 1/3 cup of distilled water, and you need your oils. And you're going to mix them all together, and what you can use, I'm just going to use bath bomb molds, a half of one. That way it has a flat surface to sit in the shower. But if you have fun like silicone molds or any other type of mold that you want to use, those work just as well. And that way you could also use them for gifts if you had like holiday themed molds, if you wanted to use those instead. So this one's fairly easy. The big thing about these is letting them dry out to the right consistency. You can let them dry overnight, just open to air. You can also put them in an oven that has been preheated to 250 and then turned off and let them dry in there overnight. The heat will help dehydrate them. If you're not happy with your consistency of your steamer, you can play with the water ratio. Often with what I found with my bath bombs is that you really want to start with less water, and sometimes even adding a little bit of witch hazel can help your consistency if you're looking for something a little bit different. So we're just going to mix everything together. I'm going to put my cup of baking soda in first. Then I'm going to add my oils, and we are going to do 8 drops of juniper. We are going to do 15 drops of the Idaho balsam fir. And then we are going to do 4 drops of our clary sage. Now, we're going to do our water. I'm going to add it slow and make sure I have the right consistency for what I want. And then I will pack my molds. And then once you pack your molds, you can let them sit in your mold overnight, or if you're using the bath bomb molds like I am, once you have them packed in there, you can flip them over and let it kind of come out on its own, and you can let them dry just on like a cookie sheet on some wax paper. So, I'm going to start adding our water very slowly. The difference between these and bath bombs is also the use of citric acid. The citric acid in the bath bombs is what makes you give that foamy, and that's when you really have to be careful with your water consistency, because too much water, you'll have all your foaming action in your bowl. So if you're making bath bombs, keep that in mind. Since we're not making bath bombs and we don't want that explosion foamy thing, because we're just doing it in the shower, you can probably be a little more liberal with how fast and how much water you use to get the consistency that you want. My kitchen smells so fresh and clean. Alright, you want it to be kind of like the consistency of wet sand, which I very much have. And then what you'll do is you'll pack it in your molds. You just scoop them up. And how much you make out of this batch is just dependent on the mold that you choose to use. So you could have little molds and make a lot of them. You could have big molds and only make a few. It really just depends on what you wanted to do. And then if you really want to get crazy, you can buy like soap coloring or makeup coloring, and you can add color to your shower steamers for a little fun effect if you really wanted to. Make sure you pack it in nice and tight. because when you want it dehydrated, you want it to hold its form. So that way, as you go to put it in the shower, it doesn't crumble right away, and it should break up as you shower and release that nice scent for you. Molds you can get at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Joann's, or Amazon, depending on if you're a Prime mom or person, or if you actually like to go. Sometimes I feel Amazon is safer for me because then I don't get sucked into everything else at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. The trap. It's almost like Target. Alright, so this will be my last one. So I used the big bath bomb molds, and since I only used a half of each, I got 4 shower steamers out, just to give you an idea of how much that batch made. So obviously you can double it if you want to keep it the big, or if you want to have more tiny ones, you can use tiny and not have to change your recipe. So I'm going to let it sit in here for a little bit, and then when they're dry, I will knock them out. I hope you guys enjoy!